This wall has nothing to do with security. This wall is just to protect the illegal settlements and settlers brought into the occupied territories. This wall is all about land grab and annexing more land into the state of Israel. And therefore it has advised to dismantle this wall and to stop constructing it. And today, even the Israeli announced policy is proving that the advisory decision of the International Court of Justice was right to the point, that this wall is all about land grab. These are the 3 parallel villages in this area. You have around 70,000 people living in those 3 parallel villages behind the wall with no access to the nearest city like Jerusalem, even for health services, not just for education services. And you can imagine the daily suffering of minimum the pregnant women even. Because the nearest hospital for any pregnant woman here, if she's not able to reach the hospital of Maqasid, which is 5 minutes drive to on Mount of Olives, will be Jericho, half an hour of drive, or Beit Lahem, which is another half an hour of drive. And you're lucky enough to make it on time if you're not stopped at a checkpoint. So this is the daily reality that those people are left to live and to survive through. And according to the Israeli plan, they will have 33 terminals in the country that will serve the entry into or out of the different ghettos. And the joke now in the country is that instead of having a 2-state solution, we're getting 33-state solution. And even the famous Israeli journalist Akiva Eldar, he wrote an article one time saying, we're getting a 5-state solution, getting the West Bank into 3 cantons and Gaza as a canton by itself, plus the state of Israel. But now, if you're looking into the reality and all the different terminals they are implanting at the entrance of every ghetto and canton, I believe we're getting a 33 cantons, 33-state solution, where every canton should survive on its own. The bottom line, they don't want us in this country. They want to make all realities and facts on the ground to prove their lie to come true, that they came to a land with no people for people with no land. They couldn't believe that they came to a land with people, and they want to hide that fact as much as they can. And they have the power and the US power to help them. Of course, the Christian Zionists in the US are helping them for their own reasons. And the Israelis accept that ally for their own interests and reasons. And the human beings are lost in the middle for the sake of imperialism and craziness and military power. I don't know where they are leading us. When Israeli Prime Minister Rabin, he stood up to say, we have to admit we came to a land with people and those people have rights, they assassinated him. They couldn't believe that one of them is saying that we made a big lie. And since the assassination of Rabin, the right wing have got their way in changing facts on the ground in the country. Look, this is the terminal I'm telling you about. So this is the terminal. Anybody who wants to exit or enter Abu Dis should pass through this terminal, just like the one that you will be seeing at the Qalandia checkpoint. Also another terminal. And you have to have a permit now only for West Bankers to exit the ghetto. Very soon, just like it's happening with Beit Lahem, I as a Jerusalemite will also be requested to have a permit before I enter the West Bank. And that's where my social problems will start, the nightmare of not having my children seeing their father. And look how they are making things so beautiful around the wall and the terminal, so that the Israeli passers-by will not feel the guilt of imprisoning human beings behind those walls. To that extent, they are so sensitive. They really perceive us as inhuman and not human beings, the Israelis. And they want us to sympathize with them. How can I tell my daughter that those are the same people who faced the crimes against humanity in the Holocaust? How can I convince her? How can I convince her to sympathize with them? We have nothing to do with the Holocaust as Arabs and Palestinians. We have nothing to do with it. But how can I, on human level, ask her to sympathize with that crimes against humanity and sympathize with the Jewish people? How can I? When she sees the victims of Holocaust are conducting the same Holocaust but on me and in my land, and for no reason, just because they deny my existence and deny my rights on this land, despite all the compromises I gave to live and to coexist in this land. This state is going towards apartheid, and in very quick steps. This is apartheid. There is no legal decisions now introduced to make it legally apartheid, but the daily practices are apartheid. The outcome of the land confiscation, of the building of the wall, of the ghettoization of the Palestinian people, of the masters, making the settlers the masters of the land, is a process towards legal apartheid. You like it or not, that's the circumstances now. Now look, this is the wall from the other side.
We are in the West Bank now, Terry.
Yes, we are on the West Bank, we're on the other side of the wall. And it took us half an hour to reach the other side of the wall. So we were standing just behind this wall half an hour ago.
Oh, this is the same mosque.
The same
mosque on the other side.
Exactly.
Oh.
You know, Jerusalem is the critical point for make it or break it in this conflict. All what's happening around Jerusalem, the realities that they are establishing, where they are Judaizing the city and denying the people's rights, you know, the historic people's rights in this land and in this city mainly, is going to introduce us to a period where there will be not just a third intifada, probably a third war. Because Jerusalem is a focal point in this conflict. It's not just for the Palestinians and it's not just for the Israelis. This is a city, an international city of peace. Either we make it or we break it here.
We began this documentary short film in late July 2006. This was the time that the Israeli-Hezbollah 34-day war and invasion of Lebanon commenced. It was also at the time of the Israeli siege in Gaza. Earlier in 2004, we made a filmed documentary called The Israeli Wall in Palestinian Lands. As part of that work, we spent time in the East Jerusalem neighborhood of Abu Dis as the separation wall was being constructed.
At that time, in 2004, the wall was not yet continuous. There were breaks in the wall at several points where you could still cross on foot from one side to the other. By this visit in 2006, the wall at Abu Dis had been completed, although people like Terry could still make this half-hour drive around the wall to get to work. Currently, massive terminals have been constructed, and we expect on our next visit to have to pass through this terminal, and Terry, as a Palestinian with a Jerusalem ID, would need to obtain a permit before entering the West Bank, whether to get to work or to visit her family.
The story of meeting with Terry Bulata actually begins for me in 1988. It was then that I was with a team of Americans who were making the first eyewitness journey to the West Bank and Gaza during that first Intifada, the non-violent uprising. Terry then was in her early 20s and was a very competent and thorough guide. We skip ahead now 18 years for our reunion with Terry in her neighborhood of Abu Dis.
In 2007, we will mark the 40th anniversary of the Israeli occupation of the West Bank and Gaza, 40 years since the 1967 war. This has been 40 years of land confiscation, settlement building, and the strangulation and ghettoization of the Palestinian population.
To watch more documentaries and interviews about the Middle East, visit the Alternate Focus website, alternatefocus.org. Watch the video of the week right from the homepage. Or click on the link under Watch Our Shows online. Look through our catalog of programs, select the one you want to see, and watch it for free. alternatefocus.org.
Proving that the advisory decision of the International Court of Justice was right to the point, that this war is all about land grab. These are the 3 parallel villages in this area. You have around 70,000 people living in those 3 parallel villages behind the wall with no access to the nearest city. This wall has nothing to do with security. This wall is just to protect the illegal settlements and settlers brought into the occupied territories. This wall is all about land grab and annexing more land into the state of Israel. And therefore it has advised to dismantle this wall and to stop constructing it. And today, even the Israeli announced policy is proof. you're not stopped at a checkpoint. So this is the daily reality that those people are left to live and to survive through. Like Jerusalem, even for health services, not just for education services, and you can imagine the daily suffering of minimum the pregnant women even. Because the nearest hospital for any pregnant woman here, if she's not able to reach the hospital of Maqasid, which is 5 minutes drive on Mount of Olives, will be Jericho, half an hour of drive, or Beit Lahem, which is another half an hour of drive. And you're lucky enough to make it on time if